The NFL trade deadline is November 3rd. Which Vikings players hold more value being traded elsewhere opposed to staying on the team? We'll just have to see. It remains to be seen if the Vikings actually do anything, because this franchise has had a history of being emotion-based, loyalty-driven with their players. They have a hard time cutting the cord on certain players. And the thing that irritates me about Rick Spielman is that the dude is a genius. You can tell he's so smart, so intelligent, but sometimes he's too smart for his own good. So I can only imagine that Rick Spielman in grade school, when he did his presentations in math class, he would say something along the lines of, "All right, class, 2 plus 2 equals 4. Yes?" And everyone says, yes. The teacher, she claps her hand. Absolutely. Good job, Rick. So we agree that 2 plus 2 equals 4. 100%. I know that's what we all understand, but I've got a better idea. And everyone's like, Rick, no, don't do it. So the Vikings player trade candidates, let's talk about it, starting with Anthony Harris and or Harrison Smith. We'll first start with Anthony Harris, in which compared to last year, he's had a significant drop off in play. I blame that more on the lackluster overall team defense for the Minnesota Vikings than anything else. He still holds value for a safety needy team. And in the case of his contract, he's only playing for this year. He signed his franchise tender. You're not going to sign him next year. Better off sending him to a team and getting some value in return. In the case of Harrison Smith, despite the bad team defense by the Vikings, Smith, he's been exceptional. He's an instant upgrade for most teams at the safety spot, and he's 31 years old. Unless you think realistically, if you're the Minnesota Vikings, that you are going to still compete this year or compete next year, you're better off acquiring assets now. And whether we're talking about Anthony Harris or Harrison Smith, the most safety-needy team in the NFL right now are the Cleveland Browns, sitting at 5-2, battling it out in the AFC North Division with the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're going to be contenders in the AFC. Andrew Sendejo, he's been a disaster. Go ahead and make that call to Cleveland. We now go to Riley Reiff, who's been easily our best offensive lineman so far this 2020 season. Premium position at left tackle. He's been absolutely incredible. And you can tell he's playing with a chip on his shoulders. Probably, I don't know, because he was forced to take a $5 million pay cut this year. So you know deep down in the back of his head, he's pissed off. I had to take a $5 million pay cut and we're 1-5. Man, please. And next year in 2021, he's scheduled to make a base salary of $11.65 million. You think the Vikings, knowing good and well how they are Rick Spielman, if he's still around, you think the Vikings are going to sit there and honor that contract next year and say, you know what, you played outstanding in 2020. We're going to honor all $11.65 million you're owed in 2021. In fact, we're going to give you a pay bump. You know they're not going to do that. They'll probably go ahead and eat the dead cap hit next year of $2 million. The team that makes the most sense, the Tennessee Titans, they're right there in the thick of things in the AFC. They lost their stud left tackle, Taylor Lewin, and he's out for the year with an ACL tear. This just makes too much sense. Send Riley Reiff to the Tennessee Titans. Get whatever you can. Now we go to Kyle Rudolph. Some may think that he's washed in blocking, sure, but as a pass-catching tight end, the dude can still play. And it does him no favors that through the first 6 games for the Vikings season, he has just 14 targets. Dalvin Cook missed a whole game, and he still has more targets than Kyle Rudolph. He's averaging 12 yards a reception, a 71% catch rate. He could be a big difference maker for another offense, and I'm thinking about 2 teams that could actually use him. First, Philadelphia, which they're atop the NFC East at 2-4-1, so technically they're contenders, or at least they're probably more so, not even probably, they're pretenders, but more so they're likely going to make the playoffs. They could certainly use him. They're going to be without Zach Ertz for the next 4 to 6 weeks due to an ankle injury. And I'm thinking about Carolina as well because, yes, they have Robbie Anderson, they have DJ Moore, but they desperately need a tight end. And last but not least on my list is Adam Thielen. Listen, he's playing at a high level still, even without Stephon Diggs, so good for him. And I get it. He's a hometown hero, Minnesota bred, but you have to think big picture here. You have to channel your inner Bill Belichick and take the emotion out of it. Adam Thielen, I would say the Vikings, they can command at the very least a 3rd round pick, maybe even a 2nd round pick. I'm thinking about the Philadelphia Eagles. Not only are they without Zach Ertz, they're also now without Deshaun Jackson, who just returned last week only to get hurt again. Alshon Jeffrey, he's done. Also, the Cleveland Browns, they're now without Odell Beckham Jr. for the rest of the season. Both of those teams likely to make the playoffs. You don't think they could use Adam Thielen? So if you keep him on the team, fine. But I think more so it's more for sentimental value. It's a good story, but big picture for the Vikings for the future and beyond, you don't think it would be valuable to get another not even another, because we don't even have a 2nd round pick next year. You don't think it would be valuable to get a 2nd round pick or an additional 3rd round pick next year? Come on, man. Let's see what happens. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. We do this 3 times a week. Mediocre Best Sports Podcast with Realistic Randy. Check me out on Twitter at realistic_Randy. Facebook at Realistic Randy. Next podcast will be tomorrow. We'll see you then.